do you guys feel like, because I'll be honest, I mean, I've said on the podcast before that Tekken 7 felt very final, and I was actually surprised that we got a Tekken 8 and then Tekken 8 to this extent. Does this, even though obviously there's a lot more places they can go with the story, does Tekken 8 feel like there needs to be a Tekken 9? In your guys' opinion?
To be honest, no. If they do this DLC rollout right, no.
I mean, I would agree. I don't necessarily need a Tekken 9. You know, you do.
Yeah, because like when I say, bro, the two biggest story, the two biggest story concept is like, all right, well, Reina's mystery, and of course the other Easter egg at the game, you find out June actually is alive, and she goes and claims her man. So we just want to know what's up.
When you guys say there's not going to be another Tekken 9, you mean the game won't exist anymore, or the characters will be new?
No, I mean more in the sense of like, yeah, like
this could be the final one. If the final product of DLC goes right, technically.
Do you mean after this there's no more Tekken?
No more Tekken sequel numbers, yeah. Like this could be their version of an ongoing, I hate to use the words, but I can't think of a better term, live service Tekken game where every year to year and a half they give you quality of life updates, maybe a story expansion pack, a couple of DLC characters. Basically it's their Smash Brothers Ultimate. Put it like that.
I don't, for me, if I have a property like this, I don't see why I would do that. I probably would perhaps end that number of storytelling and start a new chapter.
The only
with new characters.
You run the risk of Street Fighter 3. You run the risk of Street Fighter 3.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 3 failed for very particular reasons that could be avoided today.
But may not be avoided. That's the thing. It's like it could go either way, right? Where it's like you're at this point, right, where you've managed somehow, when all odds were against you, you put out top quality product. You are unrivaled by your peers in this. This will be on esports for the next 5 years, easily. Do you look to top it? Do you feel the need to top it?
Yeah, Jory, because like, for example, remember this goes back to our past conversation. Look where the state of Street Fighter is in now. They don't know where to take this story. Like, once again, you're starting to kill people off. You got rid of Bison.
That's super solvable, man.
Seth is whatever. But then, it's still this lingering Akuma factor. But then after he's done, what is there to do?
They should have solved the problem by restarting from the very beginning. Let's get everything in order. Because...
But bro, that's dragging it on, bro. I do feel like a legacy fighter like this, you gotta find your ways out of it. Like this is what Issa Rae said about Insecure. You don't want to overstay your welcome. Like you gotta find a good solid cutoff point for this. And then to be honest, bro, I do feel like I said, going by how they handle it, if this is the final Tekken, I would be satisfied. I would be satisfied, bro. That gives them room to focus on other things. To be honest, depending on how they handle the next Soul Calibur after they did this sort of reboot alternate universe, that could be the final one too. The next one after this one, that could really be it, and they could just move on to something else. Because you could tell some of them are in that phase now, bro. Like that overhaul is really starting to weigh down, bro. Like Mortal Kombat has been rebooted. It's the third rebooted one.
Because they've done messed up story wise.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you want to kind of bow on top, because I think what you're doing, Jory, is good, right? Because you're giving them credit of getting this far and doing this well. But I think for me, it's like I'm also looking at like, okay, here are some of the shortcomings of the company as a whole, right? It's like CyberConnect 2, right, which I praise and dig on simultaneously. They are undefeated when it comes to anime visuals, but they have the fighting death of a puddle on the street. Anytime a fighter gets announced by CyberConnect 2, I cry inside because that is their weak point. They do not know how to make mechanically death fighters. They just don't. They're not good at it. They can give you eye candy. It'll be the most beautiful anime game you've ever seen in your life. And you just keep telling yourself, if only they had more fighting mechanics, this game would be gold. And it never happens. With Tekken, this is probably, maybe the 3rd out of 8 entries that they've actually got the story, like, right. And when I say right, I mean right enough where, like, okay, had its problems, but I'm not mad at it. Their level of coherent storytelling is not their best company feature. I don't want them to keep trying in that element.
Because I'm trying to understand. All right, so you guys are saying because the story's in the game itself,
and the numbered entries, and the number of entries. I don't want to see Tekken Next Generation. I don't want to see the rise of the mission of successors. I don't want to see that. I'm good.
So because that's like, but the thing is like, okay, the reason why the story's a bonus, guys, for certain things. Nowadays, but I mean, if you're gonna play a fighting game, you're gonna fight, right? If you're gonna be a true competitor, Justin Wong is not gonna turn down a good fighting game because the story's not good.
You're right. But it's not a bonus because we've seen games live and die by the story mode. We just said last podcast that Mortal Kombat, once you complete the story, unless you're fighting online, what are you doing?
Well, because they wrapped it around. They wrapped it around the story, that way.
So it can't be
never
a bonus.
Give you more than after that.
It can't be a bonus then. It can't be a bonus.
For Mortal Kombat, it is.
No, for all. If you look at all these modern fighting games, even with Tekken, even with 32 characters, there is not a moment of like, hey, so-and-so didn't show up in the story. They might not have done much in the story, but every single character that is in the game is in that story mode. Every single character, even if they're sitting in the bleachers of the tournament. It's not a bonus anymore.
Because the thing is, I don't feel like it's gonna be. It'll be. It's like saying I'm not gonna play Call of Duty because there's not a story mode.
No, all right. No, what we're saying is that you could tell with this entry they're getting near their exit strategy. That's what we're basically saying. That all right, depending how this DLC looks, if it's like story DLC to cover up loose ends, and give us some good, legacy and new characters to make us feel like a complete package. To be honest, depending how that story DLC ends and these DSL characters get rolled out, to be honest, this could be the final Tekken and they can move on to something else. Like, bro, and it goes back to another past conversation we had about spiritual successors, new IPs. Yes, they could use Tekken as a foundation, but they could move on to something else.
There's a lot of video games and a lot of video game properties, Jujutsu Kaisen, that could benefit greatly from the Tekken team engine. Benefit greatly from a dedicated, experienced fighting game company, where we don't have to sit there and suffer from some company that said, "Oh, I'll do it," and we get a half-hearted fighting game because the Tekken team was working on Tekken 11. Take some of them resources. It's Bandai Namco. You know what I'm saying? They got the licenses to half the animes we love. It may not be the thing I would have expected, but I wouldn't be mad if a one-piece fighting game was made by the Tekken team. I wouldn't be mad. I know each character would play unique. I wouldn't, that would have been what I expected, but I'm like, okay, they know how to make solid death fighters. Pre-time skip Luffy and time skip Luffy would play completely different if Tekken team takes care of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't. To me, this game has kind of felt like I can see, like Tim said, depending on the roadmap of the DLC, how this could be. This is Tekken's grand bow out, and goes into hiatus until whenever, and we'd be good. We're not missing anything. You drop a good story expansion, quality DLC characters. You add a couple of offline modes or online modes that people can enjoy. Imagine a year and a half from now they drop a co-op Tekken Force mode. Okay, I'm happy. It's just a game that keeps going. They re-release it, drop Ultimate Edition, drop Ultimate Edition 2, or whatever the case may be, and you have one of the most solid fighting games you've ever played in your life.
Get 2 more year esports and call it a day.
Oh.
Okay.
And then drop Soul Calibur 7.